So basically the usage of this schedule is actually you need to make proposal to the client. It is a communication thing. It's like everybody knows that we're on the same line of thoughts, you see. Everybody knows that we have to finish this part in 10 days. Everybody knows that these are the timeline, you see. So what is a communication? What it is a communication. So it's communicating of the objective of the project to the team members, to the client, to the suppliers, to the subcontractors, to everybody in the job, okay? And it is a baseline, without that baseline, without that bottom, without that basis, is what are you going to control? What are you going to control, you see? You cannot control something that you don't have a baseline. If I say to you that, you don't care if it's not an objective for you to graduate on time, you don't need to graduate in 4 years. Basically, there's no stress there, there's no risk there. When there's no risk there, there's no aim and objective, you see. So basically, there's no basis. So if you finish in 5 years, it's fine, you see. So if you don't have that specific idea of specific time, then that's it. You don't need to work on it, you see. So basis is very important. The idea of baseline is very important. So if you say that I will need to finish in 4 years, then your controlling bit is going to be, I need to go to class, I need to finish assignments, I need to pass every subject, I need to do well, you see. So then in there, you can do your controlling because your baseline is very clear. You're going to have 4 years to complete the degree, you see. So these are the ideas of baselines, you see. And then if you have the schedule, if there's any changes in the schedule, then there's a point of reference to it. There's a point of reference. You need to point towards that particular bit. It's listed down in that schedule that there's a delay here. So that delay or that early finishing is the changes, and that changes as a reference point, you see, from our schedule. So scheduling is also a basis for estimation, time estimate, cost estimation, and quality estimation. So we only enough time you can do quality job. We own enough time. If you need to shorten time, you need to have more costs involved. So this one is here. It will facilitate that relationship between time, cost, and quality. So again, schedule is the first. You need to do scheduling planning first. Okay. So how many type of schedules are there? Basically, types of schedule, there's two major types. One type is what we call a Gantt chart or the bar chart. And this is the part that you will have your X and Y axis. Your X axis will be all your calendars, it will be all your days and time and all that. And the Y axis will be all your sequences of activities. And Gantt chart is another name for it is what we call bar chart, okay? So this is how it looks like. You have all your activities here, the duration, and then you will have your bars, your lines here, one line by one line, to show the start date to the finish date, start date to finish date, start date to finish date, start date to finish date. And preferably, all the activities here are already being sequenced properly before you key in the lines here on this side of the job, okay? So if I show you the work breakdown, for example, that we did, okay? Like this is the sample of work breakdown example. So this is your layer 1, layer 2, layer 3. So here you're going to put your duration for every one of these activities. And then after that, the start date, the finish date, and then you start to draw your schedule. So you can actually color this bar chart if you want to. You can color it up, or you can actually use softwares like Microsoft Project and Primavera to draw these lines. So this is how a bar chart will look like, and the name for bar chart is actually produced by Mr. Gantt. So Mr. Gantt has a name called Gantt chart. So Gantt chart and bar chart are the same thing. It's actually the same thing as timetables as well. So timetables is another way of doing scheduling, but we don't use that because timetable is so much less complicated, and our project is so much more complicated. So it will not be properly able to project that complication through a timetable. But bar chart is a very simple, very readable, very easy way for client to understand the sequence of the activity, the duration. It's at one glance you get a few information. You get your work breakdown, you get your duration, you get your start and end date, you get the sequencing of the activity, you get the flow of how the project will flow. And then the first point, if you pull it to the last point of the project, at the end, you will get the project timeline, the project duration. That's the overall project duration. What we're going to have here is activity duration. So overall, you need to have a project duration, and that will be an implication into what we call contract management. So every project will have a project duration. If I say the project is supposed to be finished in 18 months, basically you've already done all this analysis here, produce everything, and then you're going to see that you need 18 months from the beginning to the end of the whole project. It's 18 months, and if you put that in the contract, you're actually in effect committing it legally to the client that the project will be finished in 18 months, meaning that the client will have the facilities that he needs to have in 18 months, and it is a legal implication. If you delay, there is penalty in a contract, okay? And if you delay and you don't get extension of time, there will be a penalty normally in terms of liquidated asset damage, which we'll explain a lot more when it comes to end of the semester, whereby we're doing a bit of contract management here. Okay, so we have to understand this is how a bar chart looks like, and it has so much implication here, you see. So how do we successfully draw this thing? Okay, first and foremost, you will need the activities. Okay, you will need the activities. So you have to be, your work breakdown has to be as detailed as possible, ladies and gentlemen. There's no way that you can get around it with having a very shabby, non-committing kind of work breakdown. A lot of engineers like to do that. They like to just list down activities. They don't care. It's just for show. The client wants me to do it, I will just do it. They don't understand the implication of that commitment, because that will be a legal contractual commitment to the project, you see. So you don't simply play with time objective like that, you don't simply pick figures out from the air, I totally, absolutely advocate for that, you see, because if you do not advocate for good time planning, like I say, you will end up with a bad plan, and a bad plan is bound to fail, you see, because it's a wrong thing to start off with, you see. So a lot of engineers, they like to treat this as just a show. My client wants me to do a Gantt chart, I know what to do. I'll just take out my piece of paper, write down all my activities, and do a few lines and full stop, and never put any thoughts to it. So this particular lecture, I want you to put, we're forcing time planning, and it's my very, very personal agenda. It's a passion of mine to actually tell you that you must actually think about it properly. And the first thing is, think about those activities that you're going to put in properly. Layer 3, how detailed do you want to go? And then think about the sequence of the activity. The activity needs to be sequenced in a very nice, matured manner. We say that you cannot build, you just cannot build a roof without building foundation. You cannot build column without building beams, you see. You cannot have slab without column, you see. So it's very practical. The reason is very practical. You don't do waterworks. You don't finish tiling you don't finish car sealing your road, and you forgot to lay your water pipe, you see. Then you're going to destroy the road. You're going to put pavement onto your path, your footpath, and you forgot to lay your water pipe. You don't put your sewage pipe first before you put your water pipe. You don't put your water pipe first before you put your sewage pipe. Sewage pipe will be deeper, especially if it's in the same area, it will be deeper. So you need to do your sewage work first, and then your water works, and then your telecom cable. These are common. You need to do your drainage work before you do your water works. So this sequence is something that you need to think about, you see. So this sequential activities and parallel activities, some activities can be parallel with one another. It's not like everything has to be sequential. There are some activities that can be done together. For example, structural work can be parallel with waterworks, with civil works. There's no harm to it at all, you see. So, but you need to think about it properly also. Like you need to think about access road, whether you're disturbing the access of the bricks and mortar and everything to the building work, by doing some work outside the area, and then you stop the machinery from coming in. So these are some issues. So sequence is very important, okay?